perspective that I had never really seen before or understood before. And so I'll always be grateful to him for that.
Well, Shannon, are you surprised to hear this from Belichick?
No, I'm really not. I think the thing is that both of these guys had preconceived ideas of what they thought the other one was, Skip. I mean, he had heard, Coach Belichick had heard how it ended in Minnesota. He got Randy after 1 year in Oakland. Randy probably heard Coach Belichick as a butt, hard, doesn't want to listen. And then when they come together, they're probably more alike than they previously thought. And they had great success. But Coach Belichick has done a great job of being able to get guys that are considered malcontents or problems at other places. Corey Dillon. Skip, do you remember Corey Dillon's last game in Cincinnati? He took off everything he owned and threw it in the stands. Helmet, shoulder pad, he walking out there with just a game pants on. Threw it in the stands. Coach Belichick gets him. Team record, rush yards, go to win the Super Bowl. That's what Coach Belichick was able to do. The thing is, what Coach Belichick, Skip, is because he has credentials. How do you go there and it's not going to work? He doesn't know what he's talking about when he has 5 Super Bowls, when he's won with the regularity in which he's won. So now when Coach Belichick says, Randy forced me to see the game from a different angle, Skip, Coach Belichick looks at it like this, as a defensive mind. If I got this guy covered, quarterback's going elsewhere with the football. Randy Moss says, he looks at Randy says, Coach, when I'm covered, that's a better probability of me catching the ball than most guys being wide open. So he forced Coach Belichick to say, hey, Tom, even when he's one-on-one covered, throw him the ball. So he forces him to look at the game a different way because Coach Belichick is basically by the book. Guys covered, he's going the other way. Randy Moss covered, throw him the ball. Plus another thing, Skip, this is Randy's moment. The guy's going in the Hall of Fame. Do you actually think Coach Belichick was going to bash him? Now, I'm not saying that Coach Belichick doesn't believe what he's saying because I believe he does. I believe he believes that Randy Moss helped shape him and give him a different perspective of the game. And he talked about how Randy did things behind the scene that only the team knew about. Never became public. The bowling tournaments or bringing the kids in to go to the games and buy them tickets, getting them to and from and doing other things like that. The team bonding things that go unnoticed. A lot of times people think that it's only play on the field, but it's a lot of has to do with off the field, Skip, that makes guys the leaders that they become in the locker room. So I'm not surprised at all that Coach Belichick said this or feels this way about Randy.
So, obviously, it was very uncharacteristic of Coach Belichick to speak that way about anybody at any time, and he chose this time.
Does.
Well, maybe he doesn't do it publicly like that, but he chose this moment to talk about this player, again, just after, and he obviously attended Canton, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Saturday night. But I'm looking at the bigger picture here. I'm looking at a coach who obviously is now locked in a Cold War with his current quarterback, Tom Brady, with whom he was stuck last year when Robert Kraft said, nope, you will trade Jimmy Garoppolo, you will keep Tom Brady, and he will be your starting quarterback in 2018. That has evolved into a tug-of-war over credit. Who gets the most credit, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? And I'm seeing more and more of Bill Belichick going out of his way to suggest publicly, this was like a humble brag to me, to suggest that, I had something to do with Randy Moss achieving his greatest greatness in 2007 here in New England, that we learned together, we learned from each other. Again, it's a humble brag. But again, he's attaching himself to Randy Moss's legacy of greatness because he wants everybody to remember that there was 2007 and it did happen under me in New England, even though Bill Belichick has little to nothing to do with the offense of the New England Patriots. Little to nothing.
How did Randy get there? Tom Brady didn't bring him.
Okay. All right. I give you that. Okay. And it was for what, a 4th-round pick? It was a steal. That might be the steal of the century.
They got him for less than what the Raiders paid to get him.
Okay. But does it have something to do with credit? Because obviously Randy Moss caught 23 touchdown passes, a record that still stands, and it's going to be pretty tough to break it. Because the only guy who really had a chance to break it was Randy Moss, who is no longer playing football. But I do want to remind everybody, there was this coach, God rest his soul, named Dennis Green in Minnesota.
Yes.
You remember him well. And he had a lot to do with Randy Moss, too. And there is a teammate of ours on the show just before ours named Chris Carter. And I think he had a whole lot to do with Randy Moss's eventual greatness in Minnesota.
And Randy said it. Had Denny Green been alive, he'd have been his presenter.
He would have been his presenter. So I'm just going to remind everybody that even in Minnesota, under Denny Green and Chris Carter with Dante Culpepper as mostly the quarterback, Randy Moss did lead the league in TD catches 3 times. So that's pretty great right there. Twice he led it in just total catches, and twice he had more catches than he did in 07 in New England. Once he had more receiving yards than he did in 07, and 5 times in Minneapolis he had higher yards per catch than he did in New England. So he was really great in Minnesota in those 8 years. I can make a case that his total body of work was greater in Minnesota than it ended up being in New England, even though 07 was off the charts.
It was, absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to remind everybody that Randy Moss learned so much from Coach Belichick and vice versa, obviously, and Randy Moss grew up so much under Coach Belichick that he eventually quit on Coach Belichick. That's what it came to, because early in 2010, he just quit. There's game against the Jets, game 2, 10 targets, only 2 catches, and it just degenerated from there to a Miami game on a Monday night, and 1 target he got and no catches. The only game he had in New England where he caught no footballs. And the quote via Sports Illustrated, Jeff Chadia quoted, said that Tom Brady told Bill Belichick during the game, "You can keep him on this roster if you want, but I'm not going to throw him another pass." And a couple days later, Bill Belichick shipped out Randy Moss. Yeah. So just, it didn't end gloriously in New England. He didn't ride into the sunset as a New England Patriot. He went on, as you know, to Minnesota and then to Tennessee and then to San Francisco. Yeah.
But that's what made his speech so unbelievable. Because it didn't end well the first time around in Minnesota. That's why they traded him, Skip.
Yeah.
And then it ended bad in Oakland. And it ended bad in New England. And then Tennessee. And then San Francisco, after he missed a year, he went to San Francisco, got to a Super Bowl. But that's what made his speech. And this is what we were talking about on Monday, Skip. Had Randy shown the maturity that he showed on that stage Saturday night, Skip, we're having a different conversation. We're looking at...
I told you, I was in awe of his speech because I didn't know that guy.
Rookies do not come in the league and get 17 receiving touchdowns. That doesn't happen. There are only a few. Jerry Rice had 22, that Randy broke the record. Sterling Sharp had 18. Mark Duper had 18.
Sterling Sharp, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's your brother. Oh, that guy.
That's my older baby brother.
Okay, older baby brother.
So for a rookie, Skip, I mean, when you've only had 3 other occasions where somebody had 4 other occasions where someone has gone over 17 touchdowns, that lets you know just how special he was as a rookie and foreshadowed of things to come. But to Coach Belichick, Coach Belichick likes to take credit. Because look, nobody else could control Randy. Look what I got out of him. Look what I got out of him.
For a while. For a while.
Yeah. Randy wanted his money, Skip.
Okay.
I believe had Coach Belichick and Coach Belichick, look, Coach Belichick is a hard liner. We pay you this. This is what you're gonna play for. And Randy didn't, Minnesota, he wanted his money. They gave it to him. And then, for whatever reason, when Denny left, he started to buck a little bit with Mike Tice. They shipped him out. Norv Turner 1 year in the Raiders, and then Art Shell. And then he goes. So it'll be interesting. I know how Coach Belichick feels, but like I said, Randy has done a lot of maturing. And I wish he could have been this mature when he played, Skip, because it could have been something special.
Oh, it was something special without this, but with this.
One more step.
Oh.
He and Jerry have been the only 2 guys over 200 touchdowns, total touchdowns. Jerry has 197 receiving, 208 total. Randy would have been there. Randy probably would have been somewhere around those numbers. You had to see him up close. I got an opportunity to play against him 3 times. You got to see what he's capable of doing. It's like when I tell people Barry Sanders, TV didn't do him justice. You had to be on the sidelines and watch him start here, end up over there and start and where he started at, end up right back there, and somehow he picked up 20 yards. Some things you just have to witness in person